All right, it's your buddy, it's your pal, it's Mike Messier. For fans, wrestling fans these days might be in their teens, even younger, or their 30s or their 20s or whatever the fuck. And there seems to be this age war growing that I'm catching up on between wrestling fans. The younger fans and the younger fans aren't even that young, but the younger fans, older fans, the younger fans are kind of wondering, why do these older fans try to hold on to things or yearn for the days gone by? So I want to get into that and just discuss this as a public service, really, for both gaps, but really for the younger fans. Why do we older fans hate you? Why do older wrestling fans hate younger wrestling fans? First of all, I don't hate you personally. And I'm actually proud of you, younger wrestling fans. Proud that you're even watching wrestling at all. And that's because I feel that wrestling now is so not as good as when I was a younger fan myself, that I'm proud of these younger wrestling fans for still enjoying it and clapping and their little chants. So the fact that people are going to a wrestling venue at all, whether it's a Barclays Center for a WWE show, or even the diehard 50 fans going to see a baseball stadium global force wrestling show, or all these, probably there's 200 or 300, if not more, smaller promotions throughout the world, the United States in particular. You're always hearing about some promotion that did some fucking show or seeing some clip or something. So for all the real wrestling fans, whether you're new generation, old generation, or somewhere in between, I do salute you, because as long as there's people going to a wrestling show anywhere, under any circumstance, there's hope. That being said, why do we hate you? Why do older fans hate younger fans? And it's really not about hating the fan. It's almost a sympathy or a pity that you younger fans don't have a better product to cheer for. So let's, not get defensive about it. It's just you, and also, the internet and, kayfabe and really what people want to talk about, when did the business go to shit? It's actually, in my opinion, something that people don't bring up a lot, is Tough Enough. The original Tough Enough, as innocent as it may be now, but 16, 17 years ago, I think it was around 2001, 2002, right when the Attitude Era ended, basically. And I was thinking about the Attitude Era ending. When did it actually end? I'd say when Austin and McMahon hugged. That, I think Mick Foley pointed that out on some interview, or somebody did, maybe Don and Tony or some fuck. That was the end of the Attitude Era. McMahon hugging Austin, or maybe it was Meltzer, perhaps. Who gives a cunt? But in any event, why does wrestling suck now? Because it does, but that's not the fans' fault. The fans are doing their best. What bothers me, and probably guys like me, is that we've seen better. We've lived through different eras, and it wasn't a nostalgia act then. It was lifetime. I mean, I was living through Pedro fucking Morales matches, Cowboy Bob Orton matches. I was living through the tail end of that, not even the fucking golden era. I mean, I was living through some fucking hardcore Blackjack Mulligan shit. You hear what I'm saying? So, it's not, and look, when I was a kid, this is how deep it goes. I would read these wrestling magazines and see a vivid image of Killer Tim Brooks, brandishing a bull rope, tearing into the forehead of Bobby Jaggers from some fucking Southwest Wrestling in the middle of wherever the fuck, Texas, a state I'd never been to as a little kid, and bringing this magazine of the wrestler to school, and teachers and other students looking at me like I was insane because I had this magazine of this bloody bull rope. So, and what I would say is to my, and other kids would say, oh, wrestling's fake. I'd say, yeah, well, look at this. And I'd show them fucking Killer Tim Brooks and Bobby Duncombe and say, how fucking fake is that? as you read your goddamn Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or whatever the fuck else you're reading. So that's how hardcore it gets. So the whole you deserve it chance and we deserve a chance and we are awesome and this is awesome. Younger fans have to understand that I'm from an era that it was better than that. You didn't have to chant this was awesome because you're actually cheering for a goddamn wrestler. Ric Flair as world champion was more important than whoever the fuck was the president of the United States. Really. When Ric Flair was champion, and he would lose the title every 16 months or so, if you look at Ric Flair's lineage of the mid-'80s, you'd see that he typically lost the title once about every year, year and a half, sometimes twice a year. But he meant more to me and my friends, the real wrestling fans. We thought more of Ric Flair than we did of any fucking president or actor or celebrity or Kardashian, no matter what the gender of the Kardashian. Ric Flair was our president. That's how much it meant to real wrestling fans. And I do think that if these millennial fucks or younger fucks were around in my day, they'd probably be just as deeply entrenched. So the point is, I don't hate young wrestling fans. I feel pity for you. And it's not a condescending thing or I'm looking down on you. It's like I wish that you were around to enjoy wrestling the way it was. That's my wish for you. I wish you could have enjoyed it when it was better. And because now every goddamn wrestling fan thinks they're the promoter. Instead of wanting to be Ric Flair or even wanting to be Hulk Hogan. See, that was the big fucking debate back then. Who's better, Flair or Hogan? And you were a smart mark or a fucking smart person if you said Ric Flair. And I'll get to that in another goddamn video. If you say, oh, I love wrestling, I like Hulk Hogan, I would just shake my goddamn head, SMH, before that was a fucking thing. And I'd say, you know who Ric Flair is? And if you said no, I'd say you're not a wrestling fan. You're a WWE fucking WWF fan. That's how far this thing goes. So for the fans that think, clap, 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 you deserve it, that's nothing to me. You know, you don't deserve a goddamn you deserve it chant for jumping over the fucking top rope onto the floor and doing a bunch of Hurricane Ranas and every goddamn tope you can. Have a fucking match. Construct a storyline. Do that. Don't have a script writer writing your promos that say, tonight in this very ring. Every fucking promo has that line. But tonight in this ring? And how come all these backstage vignettes happen and once in a while they'll do it, but they never acknowledge the camera? Oh, I better not say something sneaky and dangerous because the cameraman might pick it up and show it to the audience. Because the wrestlers don't know how wrestling works. You know, apparently. So, yeah, the product is crap now compared to what it was. I'm sorry. And you can make a fucking case, oh, the matches are better. Maybe so. I mean, a fucking Shinsuke Nakamura, or if I'm even saying his goddamn name right, Sasuke, or whatever the fuck, or fucking the guy with the umbrella. Are they better wrestlers than a Dick Murdoch and a Dick Slater? As far as technical gymnastics? Maybe. But could they get the fucking crowd riled up like a Dick Murdoch or a Dick Slater? Two guys that aren't even my favorites, by the way. I'm just mentioning them because they were of that old school. And I don't even, you know, to me, a couple of guys like that, Dick Murdoch and Dick Slater, you always hear those fucking shoot interviews. Dusty and Barry always saying how Barry Windham, if in case you need a fucking memo, how great those guys were. They weren't my favorites. But look, every fucking wrestling fan's gonna think that their era is the best. Or I remember talking to a guy, a legendary wrestling fan, John Hitchcock, parts unknown, comic book store owner, and I would go into his fucking comic book store and I'd talk wrestling with him and I'd say, I don't really get the Terry Funk thing. He was very disappointed or upset or whatever the fuck, just because how do you explain the greatness of Terry Funk if you didn't live through that? If you didn't live through the greatness of Terry Funk in the 70s and you're coming in the 90s and saying, I don't know what the deal with Terry Funk is, which I didn't. To me, Terry Funk was the guy that beat up the Junkyard Dog and Mel Phillips. So, yeah. And then you can say, well, you know, later on with Barely Legal and so on and so forth, henceforth, you know, it's always a generational war. But what I'm trying to do in this fucking blog is this fucking car's on my asshole like a fuck. I'm trying to explain that I don't hate the wrestling fans of today. I pity you. I pity you. because it's a friendly pity. It's not a condescending pity. It's because you don't know any better. You don't know what you're missing or what you missed. And you can watch the tapes, and if you watch the tapes from the 80s or the 90s or whatever the fuck, you can kind of get it, but not really. It just seems like a goofy nostalgia act. Now, one thing I'll say about this, in the 80s, some of the matches were a lot of jobber matches on TV, and that is true. That was the big thing that I think a lot of wrestling fans of that era forget, is that, God, you would watch just an hour of wrestling and you could just see 6 squash matches. You could see Morocco beat S.D. Jones, and that would not be a good match at all. You could see Ivan Koloff beat fucking Jose Perez. You might see the Steve Lombardi, fucking a young Steve Lombardi, or a young Paul Roma before he started getting some victories. You might watch a bunch of matches that were squash matches, and in that case, yes, then watching fucking, if you can make a time machine and show a 205 Live to a fan watching squash matches of Paul Roma and S.D. Jones for a fucking hour on Wrestling Challenge or whatever the cunt, back then, you'd be upset. Also, what a horrible segue, but the women's wrestling now is a hell of a lot better. The women are more attractive. I think Sunny and Sable, to give them credit, and Missy Hyatt, but really Sunny and Sable were the boom of the hot wrestling chick. And then you started getting into Tough Enough, and you had Jackie Gaeta, you had all these gorgeous Stacy Keibler and Tori Wilson. So I guess I'll do another vlog about the women era and all that stuff. But women wrestlers are much better. Midgets have been marginalized, and that sounds like a fucking joke or something, but it's not. There's still talented midgets out there, I hope, somewhere. They're still alive. I mean, I don't think we've eliminated midgets somehow. God, fuck. So, at any goddamn event, that's my fucking rant. Stick it in your ass and fucking suck on it if you want. But do I hate young millennial fuck wrestling fans? I don't hate you. I just don't like your chants. You deserve it, we deserve it, we all fucking deserve it, we are awesome, we're a crazy crowd, we have beach balls, whatever the fuck. And the bottom line is this. Yes, I've seen it all. And it's not just because I'm getting old and angry all the time. Wrestling was better 20 years ago and 30 years ago. It was. So when some old fucking wrestling fuck gets online and says, the good old days and wrestling sucks now, you can argue if you want. You can take exception. You can feel like, you're just a stupid old fuck. But yeah, it was better. Bottom line, it was better. It's not as good. But I applaud the millennial wrestling fan for watching wrestling now despite its shittiness. Because maybe one of you fucks out there will be the man or woman to start a new promotion. I'm getting to the point, I'll do another blog, where perhaps wrestling needs another promotion because what we have now sucks. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm trying to be nice. It's respectful. It's Vince McMahon's birthday tonight, August 20, whatever the fuck, 4th, 2017. The bottom line is this. The WWE is not that good anymore. I'm trying to watch New Japan, and I can't get through these 6-man tags in the second match where it's just a bunch of jumping around. I'm sorry, I can't get through it. And Global, I'd love to love Global. It's like, I want to like Global despite myself, but I just can't. It's just not good. Ring of Honor, you talk about the Sinclair broadcasting, and maybe there's some Trump connection, maybe there's not, but that's disturbing to me. I would say I watched it. Cody Rhodes, best out of 3 falls. He won 2 straight falls over Christopher Daniels. That was pretty good. The local wrestling, for God's sake, but don't shit on these old wrestling fucking fans and think we don't know what we're talking about. We've been around the goddamn block. Watch Crockett Cup 87. Watch Great American Bash 89. Watch some of that stuff and then tell me what the fuck is better. If you want to say old-time wrestling, it's not just about Sable taking her top off. Go back to your fucking mid to late 80s. Sorry, goddamn. If you're a fucking fan of WWF and you're thinking, golden era, Greg Valentine and Bruce Beefcake. Well, watch fucking the Bulldogs versus Beefcake and Valentine, WrestleMania 2. Watch the Classic. Have you watched the first ever pay-per-view, the Wrestling Classic, 16-man tournament? I won't give it away, but Junkyard Dog's in it. Randy Savage, Dynamite Kid. Fucking some great wrestling in that. Ricky Steamboat versus Steamboat versus Savage have a match at the Wrestling Classic. Paul Orndorff versus Tito Santana. Some face versus face matches. Piper versus Hogan had a one-on-one at the Wrestling Classic. So watch some of that stuff, even if you only want to stick to WWF. But WCW/NWA was better than what you're watching now. I'm sorry. So just trust me. I'm not trying to stick a dick in your fucking ass. I'm just telling you the truth. All right, MikeMessier.com. Thanks for watching.